Hello and welcome to Froggity Frog Crochet and this stitch guide on how to make the braided puff stitch. So this is a beautiful, stunning stitch that creates these massive, huge puffs that slant to one side and then interlock together as you go up the rows. To create this stunning stitch, you're going to need a foundation chain in multiples of 2 plus 1 plus another 2 for your turning chain.
So to start the braided puff stitch, we're going to be working in the 5th chain from our hook first. I'm going to make a double crochet. So yarn over, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in that 5th chain, make a double crochet. So this is now our 2nd stitch of the row. However, if we go back a chain, that's a skip stitch, and so it's the 3rd chain back that becomes our 1st chain from the hook. So I'm going to mark that stitch with a stitch marker. Okay, so now we need to make our first puff. And to do that, we're going to be working over the top of this double crochet. So this is going to be in the middle of our puff. And we're going to be working into the chain before it here. So yarn over, go into that chain, and you want your hook to become behind that double crochet you just made, so that it ends up in the middle of our puff. So yarn over, pull up a loop. Okay, you're going to pull it up high. Yarn over, back into that same chain, pull up a loop. 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do that twice more until we've got 9 loops on our hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so you inserting your hook into the stitch and pulling up a loop 4 times. Okay, and then yarn over, pull through all 9 loops. So there's the back, there's the front, and that double crochet has now disappeared inside our puff. And that just makes the puff nice and chunky because there's something inside stopping it from flattening out too much. Okay, and then we chain 1. Now we're going to skip the next stitch. So this stitch here is where we've made a double crochet, skip the next stitch, and inside the next stitch make a double crochet. And then we're going to make another puff. So every puff will have a double crochet inside, and you'll make the puff into the skip stitch. So not your double crochet, but the unused stitch we just skipped. Go back, make sure that you're on the other side of that double crochet, and pull up a loop. Okay, and you're pulling up a loop 4 times so that you have 9 loops on your hook. 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 more. There we go. Yarn over, pull through all 9 loops, chain 1. Okay, so your puffs will start to slant sideways, and they will slant in the direction that you're crocheting. And you repeat this across the row. So after your chain 1, skip the next stitch. Just make sure that you don't count the one that double crochet made in, which is there. That's the next stitch. Skip that one, double crochet into the next one. And you do that all the way across your row. So go back to the skip stitch to make your puff and pull up a loop 9 times. Sorry, 4 times to have 9 loops on your hook. Go, pull through all loops, chain 1. And you keep doing that across the row until you have 1 stitch left. So this is my last puff. Go back to the skip stitch, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, chain one to secure it, and then in that last chain make a double crochet, and that is row 1. Oops, bouncing yarn. So you'll have puffs looking like this all the way across. Okay, so your last puff might look a little bit more slanted than the rest, but don't worry, this will even out as we work up. Okay, so row 2, we're going to turn, chain 1, and make a double crochet turning chain in that first stitch. Okay, so we're going to be working into both the puffs and the chain space. Okay, so next stitch, make a double crochet into the top of the puff. Okay, I'm just going to turn back for a second because we need to keep track of what's the top of the puff and what's the chain space. So we made a chain 1 after this puff, which is here. The top of the puff is actually this stitch here, so it's going to feel like you're skipping a stitch, and you are. Okay, but it kind of doesn't make sense really. So that's the chain 1, we skip that, I make a double crochet into the top of the puff, which is here. Okay, I'm just going to mark that first, that turning chain, so we know where we're working to. Okay, and you work this row the same way as we did row below. It's puffs, work with a double crochet in the middle. It's just keeping track of where your stitches be made. So into that chain 1 space, which is back here, we make the puff the same way again. So yarn over 4 times so that you have 9 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through, and then chain 1. We skip the next stitch, which is the chain space. No, that's a double crochet. We're going to ignore the double crochet, ignore the chain space, and work into the top of the puff. So it feels like you're skipping 2 stitches. Okay, then we're going to go back and work in the chain space. So into that chain space, make your next puff. 2, 3, 4, 9 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through, chain 1. Ignore the double crochet, skip the chain space, into the top of the puff, make a double crochet. Yarn over. Go back to the chain space, which is here, and into there make your puff. 2, 3, 4, yarn over, pull through, chain 1. Okay, so you can see these puffs are now making this V shape, and this is what's going to make it look braided as we go up the piece. Okay, so you don't work into the double crochets, you're working into the top of the puffs and making your puff into the chain space. Okay. So we skip the next stitch, which is the double crochet, skip the chain space, that's a double crochet, skip the chain space, and into the top of the puff make your double crochet, go back to the chain space and make your puff. Okay. Yarn over, pull through, chain 1. So you should have the same number of puffs in each row. So I've got 4 puffs there, I've got 4 puffs here, that's the end of my row. I now need to make a double crochet in that last stitch. Oops. There you go. The rest of the braided puff is a repeat of row 2. So you just need to remember you're working into the top of the puff and into the chain space. You ignore the double crochet.
There is your stitch guide on how to crochet the braided puff stitch. I hope you enjoy using this stitch. It is absolutely stunning one, and I would love to see what you make with it. Come to our Facebook group, Froggity Frogs Ribbit and Stitch, and show us what you've made. The link is beneath this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stitch guides, free crochet patterns, and other exciting projects to come. So thank you for joining us, and I shall see you next time for the next video. Bye for now.